Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is catch. Let's look at a few definitions. The first is to intercept and hold something which has been thrown, propelled, or dropped. The second meaning for the word catch is to capture a person or animal that tries or would try to escape. A third meaning for catch is to engage a person's interest or imagination. A fourth meaning is to contract an illness through infection or contagion. You've probably heard this word catch used to talk about COVID-19 or coronavirus. Many people are afraid to catch this. The fifth meaning of catch is to become ignited due to contact with flame and start burning. A phrase you might hear is catch fire. Catch is an irregular verb. To make the progressive form, we're going to add ing. The past tense and participle forms have a totally different spelling. C-A-U-G-H-T, and we pronounce it caught. Let's look at some phrasal verbs that use catch. The first one we'll look at is catch on. And there are several different meanings for this, but we're going to focus on two today. The first meaning is to become popular. Here it is in an example sentence. Do you think this trend will catch on? Another meaning for catch on is to understand what someone has said. So you might hear, she catches on quickly. Another phrasal verb you might hear is catch up. And this can mean to get work or something else up to date, maybe homework if you're a student. Here it is in an example sentence. I was out sick last week and now I'm catching up. Another phrasal verb you might hear is catch and then the name of a person and up. Okay? And this might mean to share information or fill someone in on what was missed. Here it is in an example sentence. Please catch her up on what happened yesterday. Another phrasal verb you might hear is catch up with. And this can have many meanings as well. We're going to focus on two today. The first is to reach someone who is ahead. So this might be used with sporting events or races, competitions. Here it is in an example sentence. Tim caught up with Brad on the third lap of the race. Another meaning for catch up with is to meet someone after a period of time and find out what they've been doing. You might hear this phrasal verb when you haven't seen someone in a long time, perhaps an old friend or an old co-worker. Here it is in an example sentence. I will catch up with my friends next week. Let's look at using catch in a few different verb tenses. Today we'll look at the simple past tense, simple present, and simple future. We'll start with simple past. Remember, this is an irregular verb, so we're not adding ed. In the affirmative, we're going to use caught, and that will stay the same no matter what the subject is. Here is an example. The cars caught fire after the accident. You might also hear people say caught on fire. Really has the same meaning, just a slightly different way of saying it. In the negative, whenever we're making past tense, we're going to use did not and then go to the base form of the verb. Here's an example of that. That new style of shirt didn't catch on with teenage girls. If we want to make a past tense question, we're going to change the order of our helping verb did and the subject. Here is an example. Did Stephen catch many fish at the lake last weekend? Now let's look at simple present. And remember, with this tense, I use it to talk about facts. I can talk about habits or routines as well. The first example sentence I have for you is, I catch a cold every winter. Here's an example of that earlier definition we were talking about, catching an illness. It's something I'll point out. If my subject had been he, she, or it, I would need to add es to the base verb, right? So maybe I'm talking about a friend of mine. I could say he catches a cold every winter. If I want to make the negative in simple present, I'm going to use either do not or does not, or their contraction forms don't and doesn't with the base verb. Here's an example. That type of book doesn't catch my interest. If we want to make a yes or no question in the simple present, we're going to change the order of our helping verbs, either do or does, and then the subject, then the base verb. Do you catch up with your friends regularly? Finally, let's look at simple future. Today, we're going to make simple future sentences using be, going to, and the base verb. So we'll use a present form of be, that would be am, is, or are. And we tend to use this structure for simple present when we're making predictions or discussing plans. Here's an example in the affirmative. She's going to catch up on her homework next week. In the negative, we need to add not after our be verb. Here's an example. I'm not going to catch the ball when you throw it. Here I used a contraction form of I am, I'm, and it would be fine if you don't use the contraction. Finally, let's make a yes or no question in the simple future. Again, we're going to change the order of our helping verb, which is be, then the subject, and then we'll use our going to and the base verb. Are you going to catch the dog before it runs in the road? Finally, today, let's look at a few related words to catch. The first is the noun form of this same word, same spelling, same pronunciation. Can have a few different meanings. We're going to focus on two today. The first is the act of catching something. Could be a ball, maybe an animal, or something else. Here's an example. The kids played a game of catch. So they might have been taking a ball or some other object and throwing it back and forth. Another meaning of catch is a hidden problem or disadvantage in an apparently ideal or really positive situation. So sometimes I think of advertisements and you think, wow, that's a great deal. But maybe there's something else to it. And you might hear someone refer to that as there's a catch. Okay? And that's my example sentence. I think there's a catch to this ad. So there's a hidden negative to what is being advertised. Another related noun is catcher. This could be a person or thing that catches something. Let's look at an example of that meaning. The cat is a good mouse catcher. Catcher is also a position in the sport of baseball and the sport of softball. Its meaning is used in the second example sentence. She's the team's catcher. Finally, we're going to look at two related adjectives. The first is catchable, and it means able to be caught, caught up to, or captured. So we might be describing something that was thrown, or we could be describing, again, a person or an animal. Here it is in an example. Was the pass catchable? That might be a sentence you hear in relation to different sports, possibly basketball, maybe American football. The second adjective we're going to look at is uncatchable, right? And that prefix un is telling us not. So you can see from the definition there, it means not able to be caught, caught up to, or captured. Here it is in an example sentence. Some people thought the criminal was uncatchable. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Feel free to write your own sentences in the comments section, and I'll offer you some feedback. Have a great day.